It's been, I need to know that because I try to deal in, celebrate our milestones. Like March 1st is my anniversary, 11 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. What year did you receive the scholarship?
Wow.
Okay, wait. We are live. We are live. We're live. So I am going to say,
It happened.
yeah, we're here. And I want to go back to this screen so I can see your face and say, hello, world. This is Dr. Tamia Austin. I am the executive director of the As One Foundation, where sometimes I just have absolutely entirely too much fun, like I just finished having with our guest today. The As One Foundation, our mission is about empowering families globally, delivering life saving sickle cell education. And that sickle cell education comes from the fact that our founder, Devard Darling, was born along with his identical twin brother with sickle cell trait. They were born in Nassau, Bahamas, and the story is told that even they were so close that the doctors, the mother, father, didn't even know they were twins until Devon followed Devard out of the birth canal. They had been hearing two hearts beating as one. So fast forward, fate would have it that their parents would divorce, and the mother and her five children would move to the United States, Houston to be exact. And the twins, along with their siblings, would be educated in Houston area schools, Fort Bend independent schools to be specific. And Devard and Devon shared a hefty love of the American game of football. They were good students. Of course, they were good athletes. So they were nationally recruited and chose Florida State University because that was the school that not only they wanted to go to, but it was the school that was going to take them together. Again, they were two hearts beating as one and wanted to continue to play. Devard playing offense, Devon playing defense. They would play as true freshmen their freshman year, 2000, and almost win the national championship. They won every game and fell just short of losing the national championship game in that January of 2001. So they would return as customary in February for off-season workouts. And, having almost won, they were most inspired to go hard, to show the coaches that they would not lose again. And on February 26th, 2001, that fateful day, Devon would be overworked, not allowed proper rest and recovery and hydration, and would die of what we call exertional sickling due to the sickle cell trait. And this sickle cell trait is something they did not learn about until they were freshmen, as is customary in the United States that athletes that want to play NCAA sports are mandated to test for sickle cell trait. And they were simply told it's nothing to worry about, it's asymptomatic. You just need to make sure that you don't have a baby with someone else who also has sickle cell trait to reduce the chance of having a baby with sickle cell disease. And unfortunately, Devard would spend a lot of his grieving time educating himself about this trait that's living in his blood and overcoming this tragedy. Um, he would triumph, end up at Washington State University, go there for 2 years, break all of their records, and be drafted to the National Football League, Baltimore Ravens. From that position is where he established the As One Foundation. At that time, the mission was to unlock and unleash the full potential of youth while encouraging them to achieve their dreams in the face of life challenges. And even though our mission has changed in that we are very sickle cell education focused, the unlocking and unleashing of the full potential of youth is always at the forefront of Devard, and one of his very favorite events to do, his favorite event to participate in, is the Devard and Devon Darling Scholarship Award. And it's, probably has a lot to do with our guest today because that is where we met Alyssa. Alyssa comes to us as one of our very first Devard and Devon Darling Scholarship recipients. She is just a beacon of light, but certainly one of those that would receive one of their dream making goals, which was to give back. So without further ado, I'm so excited. I haven't talked to you in so long to introduce everyone to Alyssa Pale. I got it right. Formerly Alyssa March.
Yep, that's it.
One of the very first recipients of the Devard and Devon Darling Scholarship Award. Welcome, Alyssa.
Thanks. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to finally, in so long, to be able to see your face.
Yeah.
It's been too long. I think it was Darling Dash. 2 years ago
or 19? Yeah, that's too long. Shoot.
I think it had to be 19. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we sort of grew up together in the As One Foundation, because I came in March of 2010, and I believe you were a recipient in 2009, right? Yeah. I know you were a recipient before I joined the organization. So we've grown up together in this organization, and I'm just always so delighted to see you. So I'll just say that our theme this month is education, and that scholarship is proof. We've donated over $100,000 in scholarships in the Fort Bend Independent School District, and we're so thrilled when we know that scholarship, was seeds that were planted, and you now are even an educator. So let's just start from the beginning. Let's talk about like your application process, and then coming to the scholarship award and your first impressions of the As One Foundation. Let's just start from there.
Oh, okay. That was almost 11, maybe 12 years ago, because we just passed our 10-year high school reunion.
Yeah.
But I still so distinctly remember I was an office worker up in the counselor's office, and so we just did a lot of clerical tasks. And they had just recently started putting the As One Foundation and their scholarship that they were offering out on the announcements. And my friend and I were talking about going to school and how expensive it was. And while I was in the office, I was like, oh, I'll just go ahead and grab an application. Why not? And she was like, oh, we'll never get those scholarships. Maybe you don't have a high enough GPA or whatever it is. Those scholarships are so competitive. And I was like, well, there's no harm in trying. My mom was a single mom at the time, which was a connection that I had with the Darling family right from the get-go. And it was just anything that I could do to help, supplement the cost of education and going to college. And I wasn't really too sure what path I was going to take, but I just remember those pillars that they were saying were important as far as leadership and education and spirituality and all those. And so I took a shot at it. And next thing I knew, I was being invited to a luncheon and told I had to give a speech. And I'd never been so nervous in my life. It was not what I was expecting at all. Going to the luncheon and being invited and giving a speech, it felt in my mind before I arrived very official, like maybe corporate, like I was supposed to go prove myself and prove my worth for earning this scholarship. And walking up into those doors of the luncheon, and Devard Darling was the one actually standing right there at the door. It wasn't his manager or somebody he sent that was in charge of the scholarship. And it was his family. It was like being invited over to someone's house for lunch to just celebrate, like, hey, you got this scholarship, let's celebrate. And it was just immediately a huge weight off. I just felt like like they really were there to just support us and celebrate us and our achievements. It wasn't this expectation of proving yourself or your worth. And just his smile, it was all so comforting. It's the kind of smile that just immediately relaxes you,
Mhm.
and it's just welcoming and inviting. And I feel like even now, going back to the Darling Dash and like watching other high school students get to actually meet him and talk to him and interact with him, you feel comfortable. That's where he wants to be. That's where he really shines, is just out there mingling with everyone that he's trying to support and educate. And so it was a whole different feel than what we were expecting when we applied for a scholarship to help us go to college.
It was he's described it as love at first sight, and a lot of people
Yeah.
don't a lot of people don't realize DeVard pours himself over your essays. All of the high schoolers, when they submit those applications, DeVard
Mhm.
reads every one of them, and he makes notes about
Yeah.
the things that you guys have said are important to you. And he really takes that to heart. It's not an act. It truly is not. It's too much to be an act, to be able to read 20, 30
Mhm.
applications, and then once we whittle it down to the number, and then to be able to connect. And he never prepares a speech. He talks specifically to
Yeah.
you, and and then of course we
Yes.
spring it on you that you
Yep,
got to
I
make a
remember that.
speech. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. And yes, because I had my speech written. I was ready to prove myself. I was ready to walk out there and say, okay, these are the reasons, to remember why you picked me. And that's not what it was. I didn't even read my speech. And I think it's just that air that Javar does give off. And it's very sincere, it's very genuine. He is excited to meet you just as much as, well, you are nervous for whatever. Especially that first year. I think that was the very first year. And so it was just, we went into it not knowing what to expect. And it was so much better. It was just so welcoming and inviting. And like I said, it was like going to someone's house for a dinner, and they just invited you and celebrated you, and you got to meet the whole family. I know his mom was there and his sisters, and my mom was there, who ended up working with y'all for
Yeah.
quite some time. That
Yeah, I think
was
it was 6
five,
years. She was, yeah,
5 years,
she
maybe
was the
6 years.
treasurer of our board.
So we
Yeah.
just once we showed up, and it was, I mean, I like to think that I got to go to a couple of the luncheons when y'all were giving the recipients of the scholarship, while my mom especially was working there, and it was just always still working to continue that family. I mean, he was always there every year, letting everyone know that it was him, the face of the organization, along with Devon, and he just keeps making sure you just feel comfortable right there in the middle of it. He's never sending somebody else to do the work for him. And I think that passion just really shows through. And I've never seen that fade, even as the organization continues to grow.
Yeah, that is lasting, so the fact is, I wasn't even there. I wasn't even a part of the As One Foundation when you got your scholarship,
Yeah.
but you
Mm-hmm.
have engaged because of that, and now you're just, oh my gosh, you know how much I love you, you know how much I love your mom, and that that
Yeah.
feeling is reciprocated, and I've just been all up in your life and business, and knowing about the babies, and oh my goodness,
Yes.
your mom was going to become a grandma and all of that.
Yeah.
So
College graduation.
yeah, that it
Babies.
is a
Yeah.
family, and I don't get to gush about that, this side of the As One Foundation, often enough, because it truly is a family. I consider myself a big sister
Mhm.
to Devard, and I never ever met Devon, but I certainly sometimes feel his strength. I feel his strength rest on my shoulders, that encouragement that I'm here, I got you. I mean, we often talk about the Darling Dashes. For most of the years, we were overcast a little bit, but never quite got the rain, and we just knew that was
Yeah.
Devon holding things up for us. Except for that one year, oh my goodness, I think it was 2018, and it rained from 4 a.m. in the morning until we were leaving around noon. And I guess we said, well, Devon must have had
Oh
something
no.
else to do because he couldn't hold the rain for us. But
I was busy.
Devon, he got to go back to Stephen F. Austin because this year, February 26th, is the 20th anniversary of Devon's passing. He died in 2001. So, and we choose to use the word celebrate because he would want that. And Devon always says that you guys, Devon was special. he was the special one. And he said he remembers them walking the halls and classmates would be like, oh, Devon spoke to me. He just was that kind of magnetic personality. And when he went back to the school, he could see Devon's jersey still hanging up in the school. And the coach is aware of the whole story. So the Fort Bend area, the school district is still connected, and I mean, we've had scholarship recipients. I think we had 4 siblings. 1 year, the second year, the third year, the fourth year, 4 siblings to apply for, and they did earn it. They earned the scholarship, but as you said, Devon, they wanted to fulfill a need, but they also wanted to read those essays and dig deep into the personality, and see any triumph that you've had to overcome, similar to what he had to. And that is what made the scholarship recipient interesting to us always. The fact that you are still connecting with us 11 years later. I mean, who does that, and that's that's what it's all
It's
about.
everywhere.
Huh? I didn't hear you.
I said it's not something you get from every organization.
No, and I don't think it was. I don't think it was
nice.
contrived, but it just happened that way. That we, the sincerity behind preserving Devon's memory and their desire and plan to give back and to have that lasting. I would just love to be a fly on the wall to see you as a teacher, because I just think you're probably just the most amazing teacher. So let's just change. We could just love on each other all the way. But tell us your thoughts, because like I said, our theme this month is education, and of course, we are now focusing. Our mission is now empowering families globally, delivering life-saving sickle cell education. But everything we do is like what I say, we're saying right there, touching hearts, giving hope, and changing lives. That's Devard all day long. And so as much as the education is focused on sickle cell and sickle cell trait, you being an educator, boy, I bet you have lots to say about the importance of education.
I think education is, obviously important. I'm a teacher and you're obligated to say it, but something that gets overlooked so much is just what education entails. I have the pleasure of teaching 2nd grade, so I get such adorable little 7 and 8-year-olds. And education, especially now, is not just reading, writing, math, science, and social studies, and it's those subjects, and that's all you do. And you just have to go in and teach them about adding. All of education really does, you can't teach someone who doesn't trust you, who doesn't connect with you. And I think that the things that get left out of what is required for education are just anything besides those basic 5 subjects. You really have to teach the emotional side of the student. You have to make those connections and just staring at those words behind you. I mean, that's what you have to do every single day as a teacher. Those things come before math and reading and writing, because you're so much more than someone to teach the students polygons. you have to nurture the student, and you have to teach them things that they will take through the rest of their lives, giving them hope, encouraging them to change the world. And so I think education is something that we all don't realize that we're doing, that we're responsible, whether you are intentional in it or not. And I just love seeing the way that y'all's mission, in addition to supporting and raising up the community, I mean, it all ties in together with the education that's necessary, a need that's there, and you're filling it, because it's not something that everyone gets the pleasure of teaching in school. They're not aware of it. At what point do you bring that up? At what age? And so y'all saw a need. Y'all saw that it was being filled, or that it wasn't being filled as it should have been. And who knows how many lives that y'all have changed and impacted and saved, just because of a miscommunication in the education of the sickle cell trait.
Yeah.
And so while I think that, you know, teaching and going to school and all those things is important, I think the outside education that he recognized he could teach and he could educate in that area, that he had a special connection and bond in, and the passion in it. I love seeing that education happen out in the community. And that's something I've really learned to appreciate as a teacher, is just really recognizing the whole student, the whole, you know, accumulation of knowledge that those kiddos get from inside and outside in the community.
Man, you know, that connection that you're talking about, it's what is sort of the jolt. It's that shot in the arm that you need sometimes to keep going. Because I imagine, you know, teaching virtually, did you have to do that during these COVID times? And
yes,
and even before
7-year-olds
COVID,
for the first 9 weeks of second grade.
I mean, even before COVID, teachers are digging into their own pockets, you know, buying stuff, doing stuff that's not a part of, they're not paid to do that. And then let's not even talk about the salaries being underpaid. And that's before COVID. And now insert this COVID thing, that, you know, that connection, you can't pay it. You know how they say sometimes you can't coach that? You can't pay enough for what that is. So, you know, that Devard's going to be so, he's going to be complimented to hear you say that. And it's something that I certainly have observed about him, you know, that he personifies that education. He calls it preaching, but it's teaching, it's educating and saving lives, you know, making sure it's giving you something you don't know. And hopefully you get to use it and take it and turn it into something, you know. I
keep passing it on.
Yeah.
I mean, things that I never even knew about the sickle cell trait, or even whether you are asymptomatic or you show that you have it, those sorts of things. Even just now as an educator, you have students across the board that have just things that you have to learn about and things that you have to be cautious of, whether it's asthma or allergies. And some things get taught to you and some things get listed so that you're aware, and some things don't. And so it just goes to show you how cautious you have to be in any sort of instance like that. And something so basic to us here in the United States is water. I mean, you just go to the water fountain and get the water. We've got bottles everywhere. It's definitely something that you can prevent and that you can just be aware of, no matter what situation you're in.
And that is truly where it is for us at the As One Foundation. The sickle cell trait education that we believe could have saved Devon's life is the education that we're hopefully providing to save others. And that is confirmed for us, which is why we are continuing to keep at it. When COVID hit, we would have normally have been in the schools educating teachers and coaches and athletes themselves, but now we are still largely virtual. We're having to pivot and
Yeah.
offer our content online and still reach those young people, reach their parents. And we're not going to stop. We just have to find another way
Mhm.
to do it. And that's similar. That's what teachers do. They dig deep and they find a way. And that good teacher, oh my goodness, everybody remembers that good teacher, that favorite teacher that has touched them,
Mhm.
like you said, so far outside of the arithmetic, writing, all of the subjects. Is something else that you touch so deeply, that
Mhm.
those special educators do. So you're right on it, with that, and we couldn't be more proud that we had a little bit of a part in that. We're so glad that you applied.
Yeah.
uh, and we look forward to engaging with our scholarship recipients, especially as we look to give more and more. We're just more motivated to share the wealth and do what part we can do. We can't do everything, but I was just going to say, sickle
Mhm.
cell, it hits at so many levels. The education in the schools, we're needing to educate doctors and nurses. We need to educate the patients themselves. So education, to your point, is something that happens beyond school, after school, outside of school.
Mhm.
So all of it is on our purview, and we choose this space, and of course, engaging with people like you gives us motivation to keep going. We're so encouraged. I just can't stop
It's been
smiling.
such a blessing. I know. It's
Yeah.
been such a blessing to really just have been welcomed in as a part of the family. I mean, I can say that as one foundation or the organization, and it just always feels wrong. I'm like the family. I'm a part of the as one family, and I really am. I'm looking forward to a time where we can all get together again. A time where I can go back, whether y'all are having the Darling Dash,
Physically, yeah.
virtually or
Yeah.
in person, or the dart or the scholarship luncheon in
Yeah.
person.
I'm
Oh my God,
telling you.
I'll be right there. It's been too long.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that is Devard's favorite event. And that is what we continue to hear year after year. It's like, oh my God, it's really him. And he knows my name. And he
Yes.
remembered my essay. And he knows
Oh,
my story. And that, of course, feeds him. So he, wants to do it year after year. So
yeah.
soon come. That is the plan. That is the goal, is to continue to find more Alyssas. We're never going to replace you, though. Never, ever, 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 ever.
Oh, thank
Never.
you. It's definitely special being a part of that first group and just getting to experience all the changes and the growth with y'all.
Yeah,
That's
because,
huge for me.
you guys got to be, maybe one day you will be running, or one of you will be running the As One Foundation and being the scholarship chair and
Yeah.
helping, you know, because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. And, I'll just say this. I remember when I was applying for scholarships in college, however many years ago that was. And I remember I got a scholarship every single year because I was the only one that applied. And I want that to be heard by young people. Apply, do what Alyssa did.
Yes.
What could it hurt?
You never know.
You never know. And be sincere,
Yeah.
because I guarantee you it was something that you wrote in your application, because we don't take that process lightly. Trust me, you should see us poring over the applications and really listening for that something, because it's not about, oh, I got all these high scores and I did all this and I did all that. We are looking for a connection,
Um,
and that connection is evident in this
yeah.
very moment. 11 years, 12 years later, we are definitely,
Yes.
looking for a connection. So I encourage anyone that's listening, go for that scholarship. You just, because if you're thinking it, maybe somebody else is thinking it. So if they decide not to do it, at least you decided to do it, you know? I mean, would you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, it doesn't hurt. It takes a little bit of time, a little bit of heart pouring out onto some paper and maybe an edit and revise, but you've got to do that anyways.
Yeah.
So
Got
and
to do it
it's
anyway.
definitely it was definitely one of the best choices. And it's crazy to me how that is still one of my biggest memories from high school. You know, I have the memories of dancing. I have the memories of being on pals. I have the memories of just walking those hallways. And I have that very vivid memory of the moment I decided to apply for the scholarship. And it just fits right in there with all of those things I did. Um, all 4 years that I was there, you know, 3 years that I was in the organization, whether it was Angels or Pals. I mean, it's a good choice. Just
Well,
try.
we'll replay this again. You'll just be our commercial for that. Devon and Devon Darling Scholarship. Listen to Alyssa. Because I mean, it's just, you know, we do have but we've established relationships with a lot of the guidance counselors and have had years and years of great recipients, and we're hoping, you know, to see that continue as the world opens back up and we can get together in person. But our plans will be
Yes.
virtual. They're virtual now until that changes. So,
Right.
but we are at our time. See, I told you it goes by really fast. I cannot thank you
My
enough
bad.
for, you know, just being here with us and sharing your story. Uh, to reach out to the As One Foundation, our website is asonefoundation.org, all spelled out. We have a number of things going on this month. We are still celebrating Devon through the Darling Dash. It is virtual. So for a small gift of $40, you can have a honey bun medal. That was Devon's favorite snack. So to commemorate the 20 years of us missing him and celebrating him, honey bun medal. This race is virtual, and we are considering extending through April because our sales are not quite where we need them to be. And that's the good thing about a virtual is that we can, you know, you can run your race or walk your race, as they say, your race, your pace. And I'll give you a hint: if you just buy the medal and you don't go anywhere, we won't tell. We It's a fundraiser. So you know, this time you donate and we give you something in return. So join us. We can put the link to the race in the comments. We are here every Tuesday for Warrior Talk Tuesday, and I'm pretty happy to talk about something I don't get to talk about a lot, and that is our scholarship. And we're so happy to have been joined by Mrs. Pale today. And we, Alyssa, I'll give you the last words. Did you have any last words?
I think I'm gonna need that honey bun medal.
You
So
think you're gonna need the honey bun medal? We can make that happen.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, we can make that happen.
I mean, I'll donate. I'll do the donation. I'll go the right route so that I'll even do the running. I think I can make it a 5K here. It won't be the same that running in Sugarland, but
and
for sure, it's been a pleasure.
If you get some of your teacher pals, you know, to join in with you, there's a discount. I think for teams of 10, there's a discount. So you guys can pose with your medals. That would be cool. That would be super cool. And we love that.
A team there.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be great.
And trust me, you know, we need it. We got scholarships to award. So with that, I'll say this has been Warrior Talk Tuesday. We will see you next week. Thank you, Alyssa. Have a good day.